Bitcoin reached a new all-time high last week, and also Ethereum is looking extremely bullish. In today's video, I'm going to share my next trading idea on both Bitcoin, but also on Ethereum. Bitcoin is currently at a super interesting spot because what we can see when we zoom in is that Bitcoin over the weekend, and once again guys, as always, timing of price is extremely important for my trading system. When I mark out the opening of the weekend right over here, and I mark out the closure of the weekend right over here, then we can see that over the weekend, Bitcoin once again was seeing a pump towards the upside. Now, one of my core rules of my trading system, and I've taught you guys this many times, is that you cannot ever trust a move that happens over the weekend. So what we can see is that this entire major pump that took place over the weekend, once again, it got completely retraced, and overnight Bitcoin already swept the low right over here. I warned you guys yesterday on my X page and also in my Discord community to those that haven't checked it out yet. Both links can be found in the description down below, but I was warning you that we would take out the low right over here. Now, we have currently taken out the low right over here, and while doing so, we have been seeing a swift pump and a swift dump right after. What this means is that on a daily time frame we can see, yes indeed guys, we are leaving behind a major wick. Just like we left behind a major wick to the upside over here, and I told you guys it would get filled for 50% at some point. As you guys can see, we filled the wick for 50% at some point. Now the price of Bitcoin took out a major buy side over here, it took out a major buy side over here, and it took out a major buy side over here. While taking out that buy side liquidity, it moved relatively fast. It moved too fast for smart money to fill all of their orders. Meaning that on the daily, what I want to do is that I want to mark out once again that EQ level of this week, because I know that the EQ level of this week, aka the level right over here, will act as a drawn liquidity for the price of Bitcoin for sure. Now in this case, that 50% week fill level also really cleanly aligns with this high right over here, which contains some buy side liquidity. So the level around $120,800 is definitely a major drawn liquidity for me on the price of Bitcoin. Now, what I am looking at over here is a potential bullish reversal structure. So let me keep that 50% week fill level on the chart. Let me also mark out a potential new all-time high for the price of Bitcoin, because I also think that is definitely on the cards for the month. When we look at the current structure, what I want to see is I want to see another sweep of this local low. Now, why do I want to see another sweep of this local low? Because the liquidity that was resting beneath the low over here wasn't completely purged with this tiny quick little wick into that liquidity pool. Price needs to really mitigate that liquidity pool by getting a proper push in towards that liquidity pool for two different reasons. The first reason being is that you want smart money to have the time to fill all of their orders. Now, if price wicks into that liquidity pool as quick as it did overnight, smart money didn't have the time to fill their orders inside of that liquidity pool. The second reason why a tiny little wick into the liquidity pool isn't enough is because smart money doesn't have all their orders at one single price. They have multiple clips of orders laddered in, because if they would have their entire clip exactly beneath a previous low, and everyone would do so, there would be so many buy orders at a specific level that if it gets filled, they have some major slippage and they lose insane amounts of money. So instead of having their orders exactly beneath this low, what they do is that they ladder in their orders at various price levels inside of that liquidity pool exactly beneath that low. Now we can see that price only wicked into that low with a tiny little wick over here, so I cannot trust that wick right there. So what I'm personally looking at on Bitcoin is to get another sweep of that low that we put in. While we get this sweep, I want Ethereum to form a higher low. That would mean that we are creating an SMT divergence, a smart money technique divergence that indicates a potential bullish reversal. So Bitcoin forming a lower low, taking out that liquidity right there. It can even go for that liquidity all the way over here. I wouldn't actually mind it too much. But what I want to see is that after we take this liquidity, I want to see a bullish reversal. And it can happen in two ways. First way would be to then break above the high right over here. Open and close candles above that high, then we can play the higher low over here with our invalidation over here, targeting new weekly highs and potentially even new all-time highs. The second way would be for Bitcoin to not trade back above that high right there, but instead after sweeping that low, form a new lower high, another lower low, and then a higher high over here. If we break structure right there, another long position can be entered with our invalidation over here. Once again, targeting new weekly highs and also targeting new all-time highs. Now, the timing of this reversal structure and the timing of putting in a strong low over here is extremely important. Because when we look at the last 18 months of time data on Bitcoin, we can see that 89.6% of the weekly candles put in their first pivot on Bitcoin on Monday or Tuesday. That means that if Bitcoin has a bullish weekly candle, 89.6% of the bullish weekly candles will put in their low on Monday and Tuesday. If Bitcoin has a bearish weekly candle, 89.6% of those bearish weekly candles would put in their high on Monday or Tuesday. Now, since I'm still anticipating a bullish week to happen on Bitcoin, I want Bitcoin to put in the low of the week in this time period over here, in between the weekly open and in between the Tuesday close. Then during the rest of the week, once I get my confirmations, I want to look for continuation plays towards the upside on Bitcoin. Now, I'm pretty sure that Bitcoin will make either a new weekly low or it's going to make a new weekly high. Now, I know that because of the data and statistics telling me that. Because when I gather the distance data of the last 3 years over here on Bitcoin, we can see that 100% of the weekly candles over the last 3 years moved further than negative 3.6%, which is the move we have seen so far, meaning that there's almost a 100% historical probability that we either take out the weekly low or that we take out the weekly high from here. This means that there's still a lot of energy left for price to make a bigger move, meaning that if we get that low, that SMT, form the reversal structure over here, I'll be looking for long, starting new weekly highs and beyond for Bitcoin. Now, we can all agree that Ethereum is a lot stronger right now compared to Bitcoin, and we are all loving it. Over the weekend, I actually closed my major swing long positions over here, as you guys can see, for some major profits. I swing long the price of Ethereum right over here, and I opened another swing long right over here with my new invalidation over here. Everything, as always, was shared upfront in my Discord community way before the entry got hit over here, as always. And as always, same for the second position, every single entry got shared beforehand. And as always, transparency reasons, also when we took profit, I updated the members as always. You guys can still join the trial for 14 days for just $1 by following the first link in the description down below, sharing every single trade idea beforehand alongside all my education. But now, more importantly, we want to know what's the next trading idea on Ethereum. And what we can see is that we are looking at a potential range breakout play over here, guys. And this could be massive for the price of Ethereum, I'm not gonna lie, because we can see the price currently consolidating above that range high, where many people are looking for a potential deviation above that range high and price to break back inside of it and then go lower. I'm actually looking for a potential breakout over here, I'm not gonna lie. And what we can see is that price is indeed giving me a potential range breakout model, because what we can see is that before price broke out, I was seeing my favorite continuation model. High got swept, another high got swept. We engineer plenty of liquidity beneath this low, plenty of liquidity beneath this low. Then price first formed a local reversal over here, which was very clean, but eventually price also traded back above this high right over here, creating my favorite continuation structure. Now, this means that currently the invalidation for my bullish thesis on Ethereum is beneath this low right over here. In order to play a potential range breakout, one of my models would be to get a perfect retest. But you can only get that perfect retest play over here if price engineers enough liquidity above that range high area to play that perfect retest. And what we can currently see is that if I go to the 2-hourly time frame, is that price is indeed engineering plenty of liquidity above that range high. Because we can see how price is sweeping the previous highs over here, swing failing them, and by swing failing them, they are trapping people into breakout long positions over here for the price of Ethereum. Now, all those breakout long positions, they need lows to place their stop loss at. And if I open up a breakout long position over here, I'm not going to put my stop loss all the way over here. I'm going to put my stop loss over here, because we know that retail traders are greedy creatures, meaning that we have plenty of liquidity resting beneath the lows over here that makes sure that we can play the perfect retest in towards that range high, targeting higher levels. So if Ethereum is indeed going to give me that perfect retest on that range high area, I will be looking for longs with my invalidation beneath the low of that continuation structure, as I explained, and I will be targeting new all-time highs and beyond over here for the price of Ethereum. So waiting for the perfect retest into that range high, this is where I'll be looking for longs. I'll be targeting $5,000 and beyond, probably around $8,000 for one Ethereum. Once again, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you guys did enjoy today's video, make sure to smash up the like button, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys on Thursday's video. Ciao, ciao!